today I'll be going through my Adamancipator deck profile for the Master Duel format. So obviously with the Master Duel ban list, so like 3 Block Dragon, Union Carrot, etc, etc. So yeah, without further ado, let's go right in. So obviously, firstly the stable ones, 3 Researcher, 3 Seeker, 3 Analyzer. Not much to explain here. Then obviously 3 Block Dragon as well. I know a lot of lists, well maybe not a lot, but I know some lists are playing 2 Block Dragon. That you could play 2 if you're playing like different engines inside of it. So maybe I don't know what engines other than Prankits are really good, but it might be some rogue strategies, and you don't really have the deck space to play 3, which is completely fine. But playing 3 is just, especially in like a pure build like this one, you really need it to play through your hand traps and stuff like that. Just opening Block Dragon allows you to play through so much, just in and by itself. Also, opening Block Dragon is just insane versus control decks, since they can't be destroyed, your stuff can't be destroyed. It's just a large body as well, which a lot of decks struggle. A lot of like control decks, especially like Guru and sometimes Eldritch, struggle to out. And yeah, so next up, the level 4 extender I chose here is Diantherium. In my opinion, this is the best level 4 extender for this deck specifically. I know there are a bunch of other level 4 extenders, such as like the Madolche you could be playing. There's also, what's it called, Hatricker. But in my opinion, Diantherium is just the best in this specific build. So let me just, Shade Burgundy, I think it was. Yeah, so I'll go through each of these and explain why it's worse, in my opinion. So firstly, Shade Burgundy is the obvious one. We're playing a Sekis build, so we can't really play it like no matter what. So that's out of here first. Secondly, Petting Sasur. We're playing quite a heavy hand trap ratio. So this card's actually dead a lot of the times going second. And also, just having dead cards in your hand is just like the worst thing. Like, I'd rather have a Diantherium, which would give my opponent a monster, than a dead Petting Sasur, since, I mean, it's just obvious. Like, if this deck gets to play, if I can search Block Dragon, I just win the game automatically, basically. So I don't really care about what my opponent does. Like, sure, he can summon a level 4 monster, but if I'm gonna be OTKing him that turn, it's kind of irrelevant, the cost. Like, it's just, like, it doesn't really matter. The only drawback is, like, it's not an Earth monster, so you can't, what's it called? You can't banish it off Block Dragon from the graveyard, but that's really minor in my opinion. Like, it comes up, but like, it's not really a big issue. And one hat trigger, like if you're on a budget build, I would definitely play this over perhaps 2 Diantherium, since Diantherium is actually a secret rare. So just having slots of rares, actually it cuts down your cost of secret stones quite a lot. So consider that. But yeah, hat triggers is just kind of specific. You need to have an established board really, for this card to be useful. And by then you're kind of already winning in a sense. So I just need stuff which start my plays rather than extend them. So yeah. So that's why I'm playing Diantherium. And yeah, and then we're playing 2 Doki. I'm playing 2 Doki since drawing this card actually sucks. Like, you don't want to be drawing this card, you want to be excavating it most of the time. Drawing this card, like, is actually, it just loses to so many hand traps if you normal summon it. Like, the only extender which gets you out of that situation if you normal summon it and it gets hand trapped is Adamancipator the Researcher. And what's that? Let me just close Steam here. Is our Researcher. So like if you, this is like the biggest choke point if you open it. So yeah. But I mean, I'm not saying this card's bad. I'm saying drawing it's not great. Obviously, if you do open it, it's insane for like toolboxing into all your other stuff. So like you can get Guardian, Roxy's, like basically anything you want. You can also get Seeker, not Seeker, Analyzer, which is actually just incredible for starting plays since it's a 2+6, so you can summon a Riptide off it, plus get another summon. But yeah, just I think 2 is correct, but you can play 3. I mean, it'll make your deck slightly weaker to hand traps, I think, but it might just give you the power, since it might give you more power if you actually start playing, since obviously your Adamancipators are going to be more likely to hit it. Obviously 3 Guardian next. This is like a staple. Just negating opponent's hand traps. It's just like, if you hit this off of Excavation, your entire turn's basically protected. So it's incredible. Also so it protects against the problem cards like Nibu, Ash, etc, etc. And the 2 Supplier, Supply is actually, it's sort of just another level 4 extender, but it also just it gives you actually a normal summon. A lot of the times in this deck, you don't actually use a normal summon, especially if you open 2 level 4 extenders such as Ethereum, or Analyzer going second. Like, you're not actually gonna use your normal summon a lot of time, and just having that extra search, so you can search Guardian, the normal summon it, and the protect combo. It's actually quite clutch. So, I mean, I mean, in my opinion, it's the best of the level 4 extenders you can play aside from that Ethereum. So, it's quite strong. It's quite strong. Also, it's a +1. It's just a straight +1, so it helps with Block Dragon as well as cost for Unicorn and Cerberus and things like that. Then the last rock monster we actively try to hit with the Adamancipator is Roxy's. I really like the Prankins engine in this deck. I think the Prankins engine is actually really strong. One of the big problems with this deck now that we don't have access to the Hack Fabrics combos with Link Cross and like O-Line, all that stuff on Mighty Martial Metal Marcher, is that the deck actually kind of struggles to set up link materials. Like, previously you could just summon Hulk and that was basically 3 free link. Sorry, that was basically 2 free link materials as well as a free rap type. But now you actually kind of have to think about how you're going to summon Appaloosa first, or rather early, and Roxy just really helps you do that. It's basically 2 free link materials. It also helps cycle your hand, so you just banish redundant cards like such as copies of Nibiru when you're going first, and or extra copies of that Ethereum or Block Dragon, etc. And yeah. And then also another key part is Dropsy's level 2. It doesn't come up much, but it can come up going second or even going first if you open Analyzer, since it means you can sync right into Rap type, which it's neat. It's neat. It's not incredible, but it's something. And also Roxy's level 4 obviously, so it helps into Granite plays and stuff like that. Synchro 8s. And the last 2 rock monsters are they're mainly just Block Dragon targets, so Weaken Idol is pretty good. Another thing is, you have to banish 1 tuner, so make sure when you're summoning Block Dragon, you actually save all your tuners. Like, don't be banishing your Adamancipator cards, because there's a couple times I didn't realize, like, I just banished like whatever, the first things I saw in my graveyard, and after I searched Weeping Idol, I didn't realize that I banished all my tuners, so it was just a dead card basically. So yeah, just be careful of that. Also, and obviously Gigantes, it's just an extender. Yeah. And then next up, and then the only spell trap in the deck is 3 Seconds Light. I genuinely think that Seconds Light build is the best one. You could be playing Cross Out and Call by the Grave instead of it, or as well as like other engines such as the Miracle Fusion engine. But Seconds Light is just such an incredible card. It's basically 3 free draws. Like, it's a draw 2, straight up draw 2, and then you banish it, put 1 back, draw another card. It's just like, it just does everything. Like, it's just, I can't express how plus this card is. Like, it's just, whenever I open this card, I was never breaking. Like, also, another important thing is, because we're not playing Seconds Light, we actually don't have like a straight effective counter against Maxi, since we're not allowed to play Cross Out or Cold by the Grave or any of those cards. So instead of playing, I chose the counter Maxi was playing a higher hand trap density. So I'm playing 9 main deck hand traps, which is actually quite a high amount for Adamancipator lists. You could actually play 12 if you are really scared of Maxi, and it might be actually quite viable in higher ladder, since there's a lot of like Drytron and things like that. But I don't actually have the ultra rare tickets ready to get all that. So yeah. So for the hand traps, 3 Maxi. Obviously, Maxi is the best hand trap in the game. 3 Ash. Another thing is for Ash Blossom. If I'm playing against a control deck, or not even a control deck. If I'm just playing like a mid-range deck, like Heroes or something, because Dark Lord actually does not do anything against this deck. Like, we literally don't care about Graveyard aside from Block Dragon. Like, sure, it hurts, like, but we can do all our plays like fine just without Block Dragon. Like this deck can the main thing about this deck is it can actually function fine with or without Block Dragon. Like, Block Dragon, so obviously Block Dragon is broken, but you don't actually need it to kill your opponent or do your plays. Obviously, like, this deck's still strong, like, in the TSG as well. It's actually like a solid rogue deck. So yeah. So against those type of matchups, I generally try to save Ash to protect against Max C during my turn, so I don't just lose instantly. And then 3 Nibiru, obviously, is the most highest. It's the highest impact hand trap that you can main deck, really. Some people argue Gamma's high impact, but it's close. Obviously, Gamma has more applications versus a wider range of decks, but if you resolve Nibiru versus, like, if you resolve that at the right times, versus, like, a lot of the majority of the deck, like Virtual World, which is actually a big problem, you can just win afterwards. You just hand trap them, like, 2 times, and then just kill them. That's like what you should be going for. And also, the way we counter Max C is actually by running these hand traps. Like, if I play a high enough density of hand traps, it means when your opponent Max C me, I could just pass on like 2 hand traps, and then just hand trap them twice. They pass back, and then I just kill them. That's like the general thinking behind playing this many hand traps. You could play more. You could play 12 for sure. Like, you would sacrifice a bit of consistency, but in higher ladder, like maybe plat 1, it might be viable. Obviously, playing more hand traps does actually make you weaker to control decks like Eldritch, so that's why I don't want to play that many, but it's definitely an option if you're facing like a lot of combo. And then the 2 bricks in the deck, Buster Lock is just like, it's necessary. It's a brick, but it's whatever. Just being able to protect yourself against Dark Roller, Droplets, all that stuff, it's just incredible. And then Dropsies, just for the Practice Roxies. And I think that's it for the main deck. Also, there's some math that goes into the amount of rock monsters. So I calculated that you need about 10 rock monsters to be consistently able to hit 1 rock for all 3 of your researchers. Obviously, this is different. This is like just the average, since you're going to be drawing different amounts every game, but 10 was like the correct brackets number, since you're executing 5 every time. So it's like I'm playing I'm playing 10 of the ones I want to hit, and then 2 like suboptimal ones. Yeah, you can summon these, but well, actually, my bad, you can't actually summon Gigantes first, but you know what I mean. But yeah, but it also, the math actually works a little bit differently for stuff like Researcher. Not Researcher, Rap type. So you can summon these as well. But basically, the only Adamancipator you're really actually like worried about resolving is your first one. Your first and second ones, really, because like if there's whiff, you actually got a good chance of breaking yourself. Whereas like a lot of the time, if you're already doing your plays, like if you have this research in hand, you special summon it. Like if you search out block, it doesn't matter if it hits or not. Like it's actually just irrelevant at that point. Like you just want to be able to hit the rock monsters at the start of the game, and then after that, you don't really care as much. Obviously, it's still nice to hit them if you're in a grind game or something, but you don't want to play enough. You don't want to play that many rock monsters to the point where you break your hands consistently. So yeah. And then for the synchros, obviously, 1 Dragite, 1 Raptite, these are standard, and then 1 Savage, just for the Buster Lock, as well as being a good generic Synchro 8. 1 Dweller, this is another way to beat Dark Ruler. It doesn't actually beat Droplets, but it's still a nice card to have, like, against also Max C. Like, a lot of the time, if you don't draw enough hand traps to the point where you feel confident, you can just stop your opponent with them. If they Max C you, you can just summon like 2 times more, and then make a Dweller just to see if that will stop them. It can stop certain decks like Drytron perhaps. It can just completely halt them in their tracks depending on what they opened. But it's just a good card to have generically, just as well as like just being a generic rank 4 you can just make on top of your end board. Granite, obviously, probably the best extra deck monster, if I'm going to be honest. Just being able to search block just for free, basically, just 2 level 4 monsters is incredible. Honestly, if Granite was not here, the deck would be so much weaker to hand traps. Like, Granite is just free hand trap bait, as well as just being, and if you don't hand trap it, you just win the game because you just search block dragon. One Appaloosa. This card's so much easier to make if you play the Prankets engine, so definitely play this card, obviously. One Creston. It's not as good since we don't have Link Cross and we don't have Marshall and Marcher in the format. Well, we do have Marshall and Marcher, but Link Cross was the main one. The main reason you want to play this card, but it's still a good card. Like, it gives you free Link material. Summoning one of these, it's actually pretty useful if you have another level 4 on board, since it helps you get into Riptide as well. So it's like alright. It comes up like a reasonable amount. I'd say it comes up maybe a third of my games that I've tested. So it's like a decent card to have. One Masquerena. This card's just nice. Nice for end boards and a unicorn. One Cerberus, one Phoenix. The thing about the Nightmares, they actually, if you're playing the Prankets, another bonus of the Prankets engine is they're actually like so much better if you play the Prankets engine, since Meow Meow and Dodo just have a straight down arrow, so you can just, some of these get a free draw like immediately going second, which is actually kind of nice. Also, Cerberus is a Earth monster, which actually does come up sometimes with Block Dragon, so be careful. If you just need like 2 monsters, you have nothing else to do with them, you could just make a Cerberus, just so you can get the extra Earth, so you can summon Block one more time. One Union Carrier for the Buster Log. Also, Union Carrier is actually an engine card. Like sometimes, if you don't open Block Dragon and the opponent like hand traps your Granite, and you don't have another way to access it, using Union Carrier, to equip Block Dragon to one of your rock monsters and then link it off, so you get a Block Dragon Surge, it happens actually quite a lot. Well, not a lot, but it happens to the point, it happens enough that you should know about it, like as an active play that you should be thinking about when you're doing your plays. So just be careful of that. Access Code Togger, obviously for OTK. You summon Access Code quite a lot actually off Masquerena. It's because it's 4,300 attack monster that can't be destroyed. Like a lot of control decks have a big problem out in this card, especially Eldritch. So yeah, if you're playing against Eldritch, just summon this card with IP Masquerena after they use their Golden Lord hand effect, and you just win. And then the 2 Prankets cards. You could actually play the other one, this one, but there isn't much of a difference. Like the difference is really minimal, honestly. But the only like real difference is this one. You can ban it. You can use it during your opponent's turn. So if they like hand trap you to the point where you're just left on this on field, you can banish this one to add back 2. But at the same time, Dodo is a win monster, so it actually turns on your Riptide. Same with like Danetherium and stuff. So it actually turns on the Riptide effect to banish 1 card in opponent's graveyard, which like neither of these effects come up like ever, but it's something worth noting at least. So I think that's it for my deck profile, and yeah.